Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Racing to Win right here on the Grid Network. Joe Samaniego, along with Danielle and Zeri from Racers, the girls behind the helmet. We invite everyone to participate in the chat room. Not a whole lot of racing this past weekend to talk about, but we got a lot this upcoming weekend, including the doubleheader with the W Series, and it's with the W Series we'll get started with. And the big news that came out, of course, the W Series, they are in the United States to end their season with a doubleheader at the Circuits of America and crowned a champion in the W Series. And one driver that will not be there is Irina Serdikova. Due to complications getting a U.S. visa, despite being an international athlete, she will miss out on the final two races, and many were concerned about her ability to lock herself in next year because, Daniel, as we know, the top eight are secure for next year with the ride. How tough was it for her, Daniel, to miss out, and will we see her next year in the W Series?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Joe. As you said, it's going to be a really, really busy weekend. This one with the W Series doubleheader at Kota. As you said, it's a tough one to swallow for Irina because she had a really, really great season, a really great debut for the young Russian driver in W Series. She was on the podium in Austria. She was fourth in Hungary. So definitely one of the drivers that it's worth to look for the future. And as you said, the news broke out that the top eight will be confirmed in 2019. It was the top 12, so we had more drivers being confirmed into the next season. While now it's going to be only 8 drivers. But as you said, currently Irina is 7th in the standings. So missing the last 2 rounds will mostly mean that she's not going to finish in the top 8. Let's be realistic. But this doesn't mean that she will miss on the entry for 2022. Luckily, because Irina, 18-year-old, and Nerea Marti, at 17-year-old. Well, no, they are both 18. Sorry. They are the youngest drivers on the W Series grid. So this means that they are part of the W Series Academy project. They are also teammates in this year's W Series Championship. W Series announced at the beginning of the season that the 2 W Series Academy drivers selected this year, who are Irina Sirokova and Nerea Marti, will get an automatic entry, a 2-year deal for W Series, regardless of the position they will finish at the end of the season. So this is a very lucky one for a lucky escape for Irina Sidorkova, given the visa situation. It was kind of a thrilling situation for Irina because currently the U.S. embassy in Russia is closed. So she didn't have the opportunity to ask for a new visa. She had one a visa for the United States, but it was expired in 2019. So of course you have to apply again, and it wasn't possible for her because the embassy was closed. So she applied to many other U.S. embassies in other European countries, in the Netherlands, in the UK. And all of them granted her an appointment not earlier than 2022. Of course, it was too late for her to travel to Austin for the US Grand Prix this year. So she tried other countries, other US embassies in other countries. Ultimately, she ended up in Oman, in the Middle Eastern country, in Muscat, the capital city of Oman. Where they did granted an appointment to discuss why she needed a visa for the United States. She went there. There was some more drama because of a storm, a tropical storm that delayed the operations again. Once finally she did meet at the embassy, she was denied the visa on not specific reasons. We asked the embassy in Oman to comment for an official statement. It's it was just impossible for her. Also, W Series and Formula One tried, of course, to facilitate this process. Tried, in the last few days to fly her over, but it wasn't impossible for her to get a visa, which was quite absurd, to be honest. But yeah, this is the situation we were in.
Indeed, it was just something where all the things she went through to try to get one, and then at the end just couldn't make it. Very unfortunate. And then, as you mentioned, she will be back with the academy, being one of the youngest drivers there. Now, of course, as you talked about, it used to be 12. Now it's down to 8 drivers are going to be returning for 2022. A pretty big size change. Overall, do you feel the top 8 is too few drivers, or do you feel that's just the right number of drivers coming back, especially since we have the academy there as well?
That's a good point. I don't know if it's too few drivers, but hopefully this means that they have a huge talent pool where to pick from for next year. It all depends on that. How many drivers they can pick for the next selections. It still is to be announced how the selection will be managed now that from next year the series will move into a fully team spec format. So while now it still was, there were teams, but still they were managed by the W Series organization. So it's going to be interesting to see how the selection will be managed. But hopefully, the clamping down to 8 confirmed drivers means that they have a huge pool of talent where to pick for the next selections. And so far we have to say that still. Every driver on the championship standings still has the mathematical chances to secure a spot for next year after the prior to the 2 US rounds. Only Gojar Dest doesn't have that chance because, of course, she has scored points in the opening round of the season where she stepped in the second Puma car. Of course, we know that Tasmin Pepper was not on the grid this year for several reasons. But Gojar Des is not in Austin this weekend. She is in Magny-Cours for the final round of the Alpine Europa Cup Championship. She was in the last few days. She was in New York City for promotional activities linked to the Puma W Series sponsorship. But she is currently flying back to France. We texted with her manager yesterday evening that she confirmed that Gojar Des will be taking part in the Alpine Europa Cup Championship. So she's not in Austin, and she is the only driver currently on the W Series standings that is not going to finish in the top 8. While even Sabre Cook, that it still has to score a point, of course, home races for Sabre. With 50 points still on the table, she can aim for that top 8. So far, Belen Garcia is 8th, so she would be the last qualified driver. Marta Garcia is P9, so she will have to fight her way into the top 8. And also in 12th position currently is Bijske Visser, the runner-up from the 2019 opening season of W Series. So also Bijske Visser has not an automatic entry to date. Only Alice Powell and Jamie Chadwick have already secured a top 8 mathematically. But we know that for the FIA regulations, because of course W Series for the first time this year will award super license points. So the championship that awards super license points have to agree to some regulations, and one of them is that the reigning champion cannot defend the championship the year after. So from our understanding, W Series try to go around this regulation and will allow either Alice Powell or Jamie Chadwick or Emma Kimberlinen, because also Emma Kimberlinen is still mathematically in contention. The champion, the 2021 champion, will be granted the opportunity to remain in W Series, but they will not score super license points. So this is the regulation that they will go around. But yeah, I think top 8 is definitely on a 20 driver grid. This year is quite, it's quite a few drivers. So we'll have to see who manages to get up there after the 2 rounds at Kota.
Yeah, 20 drivers, top 8 advancing. It makes it almost feel a little bit like, it's a controversial topic, the NASCAR playoffs, where you have 40 drivers and only the top 16 are locked in for a championship at the last 10 races. Here, Bicycle Visser, running up last year, 12th this year. This is just not at all a good season. I think she has to really find and claw her way to the top 8. Marta Garcia, 9th place. We all anticipated, I mean, everyone talked about she was going to be a contender for wins, just having a tough break season. And now that battle for 8th place and higher is just going to be up there, I think, as well as the battle for the champ between Powell, Chadwick, and Kimmelinen. So we're going to be following the full W Series weekend. Saturday, Grid Live pre-race, noon Eastern. We're going to preview the W Series weekend. Of course, we know we'll be much closer, have a good idea of what the field is coming for the weekend. Then we will be updating about Sunday about some sort of program, whether it's our regular Grid Life wrap up or a special one to recap the W Series race at Austin, Texas. Now, Daniel, I know none of us are going to be in Texas this weekend, but you were at the Rok Cup Karting Championship this past weekend. Can you tell us all about that?
Yeah, absolutely. The Rok Cup Championship is one of the most important in the world in karting. It is like the World Cup of karting. And there were quite a few interesting drivers. We went there because these events are really important, in my opinion, to see the state of the art of the young talents that we'll definitely see and learn more from them in the upcoming years. You know, so these are the pool of talents where that are going up the ranks and through the single seaters, the Formula 4 and Formula 3 in the next few years. So that was really an interesting opportunity to see some of the drivers that will definitely go up the ranks, and among them, of course, some very interesting female racers as well. There were 311 drivers across 6 different categories, from the mini class, because of course there are different classes in karting, from the mini, which are drivers from 7, 8, 9 years old, and then going into the junior, the senior, and all different classes. So there were 6 classes, 311 drivers, and 16 female drivers. So if we think about 311 to 16, it can look a little bit of a bleak figure, but we have to say that we can also think about 10 years ago. There was nothing like that. So I think still we are going into the right direction still. And the most important thing is of course it's important to grow the base of the pyramid. Of course it's important to grow on a quantity level, but it's also important to grow on a quality level. And what we saw at Lonato at the World Finals of the Rok Championship was an immense quality from the field of female racers, starting from the mini class, where over 100 drivers were starting. There were 2 female drivers, and one of them went into the final. Of course, there were heats in order to progress to the final. And Martina Rumlenova at Czech Racer did advance to the final. She also finished on the podium in one of the heats. She was constantly in the top 10, so definitely a great talent to watch. Very young. Unfortunately, in the final, she was pushed out because, of course, with such a huge field, it's very easy to get caught into contact, into accident, and she finished down the order. But she was definitely one of the drivers, the most interesting drivers. Also, in the other categories, we had in the Super Rock class, we had 16 drivers qualifying for the final, and 4 of them were female drivers. So 1/4 of the grid were female. So that was pretty much an highlight of the weekend. We had Gaia Cardinali, Andrea Vibriantitie, a driver, very, very interesting driver from Lithuania. And in the picture, we see a driver from Monaco, who finished on the podium, Gaia Cardinali. So she was also on the podium, and she was winning races through the season. And at the final, she had a great race, and she finished 3rd, and also set the fastest lap of the race. So another interesting driver. Then we have Lynn Neuhaus, Nicola Meglio, Chiara Bolognini, Zoe Florescu Polotea from Romania, Tina Hausmann, another driver from Switzerland. Quite a lot of drivers from Switzerland. And then one of the most interesting one, who is another Swiss driver, Chiara Naude. Here she is in the picture. She's very young. She's 12. And she's also under the spotlight because she is in the short list for the next FIA Rising Star program. The program is set to start this weekend in Circuit Paul Ricard in France. It's the same program that brought Maya Veug to Italian Formula 4, and also, of course, to the Ferrari Driver Academy. She is the first female racer ever in the Ferrari Driver Academy. And Chiara Naude is among the 14 drivers selected for the next FIA Rising Star program. So we also had the opportunity to see her racing. She did very, very well. She was always constantly in the top 5. She finished P6 in the final. Extremely competitive driver, very good in the battles. Also in the same category, there was another really, really strong driver, Petra Babičková. She is from Czech Republic. And interesting curiosity from the Babičková sisters. There are 3 sisters. All of them are racing at the top level of karting. One in the junior class, and the 2 others in the senior one. Petra, here she is. She was racing in the junior class, and also she was straight around the podium positions. She was really in contention for victory. Unfortunately for her, she dropped down in the final as well. She had some contacts, banged wheels during the more chaotic stages of the race. Finished P11. But still one of the drivers to watch, as well as her sister Teresa, who finished on the podium. She finished 3rd, and she led the senior final for some laps until she was leading until 4 laps to go, and then she slipped into 3rd position. And in that class, here she is on the 3rd step of the podium. And also we see in P4 another female driver, Michalina Sabai from Poland. She was also very, very competitive, also in contention for victory until the final laps. So that class was really, really exciting to see. And many, many more interesting female drivers. It was really, really an interesting experience to go to Lonato to see one of the most interesting karting races in the world. And we had the opportunity to meet also Tegan Pools. Tegan, she is from Canada. She is probably more popular for her because she was also shortlisted for the inaugural W Series selections in 2019. She was ultimately not in the final selection that went to Almeria to test the car. But she also has some prior experience of Formula cars and of race cars. So she is 23. And it was her very first international race outside of Canada. So that was interesting also to follow. We had a really, really cool chat with her. She's a really, really interesting person and really knowledgeable driver. And of course said that you can be the best in your nation, and then you come to such an event, and you really have to reset your ambitions, because there are such a huge pool of incredible talents. But she did really well, and her class was really competitive. Let's say that in the same class, that in the same heat that she had taken poles, also Formula 2 driver A Formula 2 driver was racing there. So it was really interesting to see Tegan doing well. She was in the top 20 in the final. She started P19 and finished P19. And so I think it was really interesting also for all the others that we had the chance to see and to chat with.
Very interesting. We got sounds like a lot of fun to see all this upcoming talent, and I think it would be just great to be at this event, see all these upcoming drivers, especially as they progress in their career, just getting to know them more and introducing them through everyone. And of course, we encourage everyone in the chat room comment. Would you like to see more coverage of karting level or even just lower series levels in the United States? We'd love to hear ideas, especially as we start gearing up for 2022. Meanwhile, one series that has one race left after this weekend is the International GT Challenge. This past weekend, they were over at Indianapolis for the 8 hours of Indianapolis, of course, taking place at the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The 8 hours of Indianapolis saw some historic moments in the silver class as they saw the first female to take the overall in the number 77 Compass Racing Trio of Ashton Harrison, Mario Farnbacher, and Matt McMurray took the Silver Cup class honors. The class win followed breakthrough victory earlier in the day at Indianapolis Motor Speedway as Harrison and McMurray claimed the overall and Pro-Am class win in the opening 3 hour Fanatec GT World Challenge America portion of the race. Harrison becomes the first female racer to win an SRO GT World Challenge history, driving the opening and closing stints of this event. And in the first hour, Harrison made up 6 positions to gain the SRO lead. This is also historic because this is the first female in Indianapolis Motor Speedway history to take home a first place finish. The iconic speedway, of course, known for the Indianapolis 500, biggest event in the United States, well recognized around the world. Also hosts NASCAR, used to host Formula One, MotoGP, other top level series. Never seen a female won any of those races. So for Ashton Harrison, a big congratulations to her. Also in the Pro-Am class, Erin Vogel, of course, she's doing her first year in GT3 and has been having a very successful year. She's been getting podiums as well as a win earlier this year. Very excited for her to be at Indianapolis with her AMG Mercedes number. No, I don't have the number here, but anyway, GT3 car, and very exciting ever for her as they scored a top 10 finish at Indianapolis in their class for the Pro-Am. Overall, great season for Erin. Of course, we've talked to Erin on this program a lot of times, and we encourage everyone to be sure to subscribe to the Grid Network as we'll be doing more sports car coverage in 2022. And you can sign some of our prior IMSA sports car coverage with Erin as well, giving her analysts on all the races. And of course, the next International GT event will be December 2nd through 4th in South Africa. Overall, a great historic weekend at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is, of course, home of Indianapolis 500. And Daniel, I know pretty much that was all for this little bit of a quiet weekend. When it comes to next weekend, what are we looking at besides the W Series at Circuits of America?
Yeah, as you said, compared to the prior one, it will be a very busy one. Of course, there will be the W Series doubleheader at COTA, but also we will have the final round of the European Le Mans Series in Portimao. Also, of course, the Iron Dames will be racing there, but we have a new addition to ELMS because Sophia Flörsch will return to European Le Mans Series for a one-off with the Algarve Pro team. She will not be racing with Richard Mille this time, but in a mixed lineup rather. But then we will have also French Formula 4 with Angelina Fevario rounding out her first season in Formula 4. We will have the ADAC series in Hockenheim, so the ADAC GT Masters with Simona De Silvestro, also ADAC GT4 with Gabriela Gilkova. then more series across the world, like for example the already mentioned Alpine Europa Cup, where Gojer Des and Lilu Wadu will round out their season. So it's pretty much a very, very busy weekend. Also at COTA, there will also be the Formula 4 US Championship, where we have also a couple of female drivers. And it's already it's going to be a very interesting weekend, especially because, of course, of the W Series season finale.
And with the W Series finale, we encourage everyone be sure to follow the website racersbehindthehelmet.com. Follow all the information of all the races coming up, as well as the past weekends, all the stories we also didn't cover as well. So a lot of great information on racersbehindthehelmet.com. And we want to thank everyone for tuning in to today's program. Be sure to subscribe and like to the Grid Network and follow Racers Behind the Helmet on their social media platforms at Twitter and Instagram. For Danielle, Zeri, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching today's program. We'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GridNet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on public.com.